about the topic which we have never brought to you guys. And this is a very, very important topic, especially if you have online business like myself. And some of you actually have online business and offline business. Doesn't matter what kind of business you are, but this is a very, very important topic. And I have a very good friend of mine, Jared Sparr, on the line, and let me introduce him. So who's Jared, right? So Jared is a cash flow consultant and the creator of the ultimate cash flow formula. It's a three-step system where he shows his clients how to achieve reliable and predictable cash flow in their business. And Jared, just like a few of us, he's a serial entrepreneur, and he knows about all about the cash flow as a former owner of two flower shop, a landscaping company, an importing company, a wholesale and manufacturing company, and a vending machine, also vending company, right? So he has been employer for over 100 people, so he knows a little bit about money, I guess, right, over all of this time. And his notoriety has more recently emerged in the payment and the cash flow industry, where he represents over 14 processors to shop the best deals for his customers and clients. And he's also a partner in an ISO processor as well. As a partner, Jared has more control to get his customer what they need when they need it, right? And he has over 500 customers. So this guy knows everything about uh, payment processing, everything about cash flow, everything about merchant accounts and services and all of that stuff, all of that nitty gritty stuff, and the stuff which is very important for your business. And the most important thing is with his 500 customers, he's processing over $10 million a month for his customers. So he has seen a lot of ins and out of processing. So along with his New York Times bestselling author Brian Tracy, Jared has co-authored a book called The Credit Card Processing for the Sales Agent. And if this book sounds familiar to you guys, it is because that it used to be the go-to training guide by processors worldwide to train their staff. And in addition to his proven entrepreneurial experience, Jared received his undergrad from Michigan State University and Masters of Science in Business Administration from Central Michigan University. So in this webinar, this is what Jared is going to do. By the way, he has a very very elaborate, extensive credentials, and he is the guy, right person to teach us on how to amplify your income, how to compress your cost, and how to reduce your risk when it comes to your business, right? And the most important thing he's going to talk about today is how to give your business a reliable and predictable cash flow and income. So please join me in welcoming Jared Sparr. So Jared, are you excited to show us everything and anything related to cash flow and uh, credit card processing and merchant processing world?
I am. Thanks for having me, Janet.
Great. Absolutely. So take it over, man.
All right. Well, before I start, if you guys will indulge me, I just want to tell you kind of how I got my start and why I'm where I am today. And basically, as Janik said, I own several businesses, employed over 100 people. And about 10 years ago, I made a huge mistake. And that was that I had all my businesses under one tax ID. I thought I was a genius at the time because it saved me a ton of money on insurance every month, a ton of money with my accountant, and so on and so forth. So I thought I was being really smart. But the problem was, I had cancer and I was out of work for about 8 weeks. And while I was out, my employees embezzled over $600,000, which wouldn't have been
Ouch.
catastrophic. But what happened was under one tax ID, it was like a domino effect, and every one of my businesses over a 6 year period ended up closing. So it was a very expensive learning experience. But what it taught me was I never want to see what happened to myself happen to anybody else ever again. And that's kind of why I do what I do.
Jared, that's actually a pretty big learning lesson for a lot of people on the call. And I know when I started my business back in real estate days, back in 2004, we used to run multiple businesses under one tax ID. And then along the way, we became a little bit smarter, I guess, after our first year. And we realized that we had to do separation. But the embezzlement problem, we did not go through it, but boy, oh boy. So so this is very important, and keep listening, folks, because he's going to share a lot more information. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I think that's what makes us who we are today is all of our experiences. So, um,
Absolutely.
I think when people deal with credit card processing, the most confusing thing is pricing, and it's kind of like the credit card processors are always playing the shell game, so you never really know if you're really getting a good deal. And
Hmm.
that's the most important thing I'd like the attendees to get and take from this webinar today is how to figure out if you actually are doing you're getting a good deal from your credit card processing. And the screen right now shows you a formula that you can use. If you take your total fees, so that would be not just the first page, but go to your last page and find out what your credit card processing company is actually charging you in total. Divide that by your total volume, so how much money you processed, and it will come out with a percentage. It's going to look something like 0.00237, and that will convert to 2.37%. So to give you an idea of what's normal for different types of businesses, and I know we have a lot more online types of businesses, retail is usually 1.6%. CNP stands for card not present, which would be like a carpet cleaner. That's 2.0%. And usually online sales is more like 2.5%. So if your conversion comes in higher at 2.5%, you know you're paying too much. And if it comes in right there or lower, then you actually know you're getting a good deal and you don't want to change anything. You want to stick with what you're doing.
Absolutely. So now, Jared, let me ask you this question: is it easy to, if I have someone with if I have someone with let's say their merchant, I guess, bill or the statement, is it easy to figure this out on their own?
Yeah, I think it is. I just
Okay.
worked with a customer who has PayPal, and their bill is pretty confusing. It's only online, and the way it's set up, there's different pages or different areas you look at for different fees. So it took us a little bit to actually add up the total fees and then figure out what our total volume was for the month because the way PayPal has their subtractions and additions. But once you do that total number, it's there's no way you can hide stuff. So no one can play the shell game when you do it this way. As long as you have those two numbers, it'll give you the bottom line of what your gross percentage is. And it doesn't matter what games the sales agent plays, you know that you're getting the best deal.
And so this is the first thing they need to do. This is a very important thing to
Yep.
figure out whether they are, I guess, getting ripped off or not, right?
Exactly. Because I think a lot of people might think they're getting ripped off, and then when they do the math, they find out they're doing pretty good. And on
Hmm.
the flip side, there's a lot of people who, like veterinarians, have really good screeners at their front desk, and they think they're getting a great deal. But then when they do the math, they go, "Oh, I'm not paying as much or as little as I should be paying."
Right.
So yeah, this
Okay.
is a way to find out without, it's a very honest way to do it.
So this is kind of the base of all of your conversation. So what's next? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So in order to save 30% without switching processors, there's a lot of things we that I can show you a lot of tips and tricks. And I know that you guys are mostly online, so I'm going to skip over some of these pretty quickly. But the first question is, when was your terminal downloaded? If you guys use a terminal, if you use software, usually that's automatically downloaded for you. But terminals aren't. And if it's been 2 years or more since it's been downloaded, you're paying too much. The reason why is programs change literally every 2 weeks. And if your program is a year or 2 years outdated, you can guess that you're not paying the lowest rates you can because you're not qualifying with the current restrictions that the card issue is restricted to. Does that make sense?
Jared, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that does make sense. So I was going to actually suggest that, yeah, we do have a lot of people who are either working out of their home office or a lot of online types of businesses, right?
Hmm.
But we do have a few physical local service businesses as well, and some of them actually have both online and offline presence. So if you need to share with us about your offline strategies, please don't hold off. Please share with
Okay.
yeah, because
I,
we do have kind of a mixed crowd. So please go ahead and share. Yeah,
yeah, and that's interesting how everything kind of falls together. That's actually in a slide coming up, so let me hold tight on that one real quick.
sure.
Um, the next question I always ask people is, how old is your terminal? I've got a picture on the screen of a pretty old one. And that's a common scam as the credit card agent will come in and say your terminal is out of date and you have to get a new one. The case is there are some terminals that are out of date. And not for the reasons you think. The main reason why is RAM. Just like a computer, credit card terminals only have a certain amount of physical RAM to hold programs. And the newer programs are more robust and have more information in them, which means that they need more processing power, and the older terminals can't do it. So if you do have an older terminal like the one on the screen, then you definitely need to upgrade and get a newer terminal. And I'll tell you guys a little bit later on how you can find out exactly what terminals are the ones that are good and which ones are bad, and how to get one from, say, off of eBay, not from your processor, and save hundreds of dollars doing it that way. All right, is your
Cool.
staff trained? This is kind of for the card not present people. Um, and this is really important. I'll give you an example. I've got a heating, cooling, air conditioning company, and the way that they process is when the guys are in the field doing the repairs, they call back into the office and they give the office girl the information and she punches it in the credit card machine. And they had a position change where someone new was in that position. And the new girl was, I hate to say it, but lazy. So what she was doing was she wouldn't put in a zip code or a street address in the machine. And that little change right there of not having that information caused them to pay 30% higher rates. It took me a month to catch it. And once I did, I had to talk with the owner and eventually talk with that staff member and trained her how to do it the right way. But in that case, I mean, they lost $75 for that month. And it had nothing to do with wholesale prices or contracts. It was the way they were entering the data. If you do online payments, that applies for any type of online payments as well. I mean, if there's an option for you to put in an invoice number or a clerk ID, that's something that you definitely want to fill in with at least 4 digits. And even if it doesn't match anything you have, just put in 1111 so there's something in there. That little change will make a difference to save you 30%.
Okay, slow down, man. So what you're saying is, I understand about the zip code. If the zip code is wrong, then I think it would not match, ABS mismatch. Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about something
Exactly.
completely different. Okay.
Exactly.
So ABS mismatch, and then if there's an ABS mismatch, then the processing company will charge for that transaction, right?
Yeah,
Even
they
if it
think
doesn't
it's
go
more
through.
risky, so they charge a higher rate on it.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. And if you can put the invoice number, so this is actually where your shopping cart platform would be important, right? So if you have the invoice number, which you can enter,
Hmm.
even if it's 1111, as Jared mentioned, I think it's very important. So okay, so two things to keep in mind. Cool.
Yeah, and that's even in the setup of your shopping cart because we do a lot of work with Authorize.net and we do a lot of work with our customers on how to set it up for security. And that's something that you can put in there to be automated, or you can just leave
Hmm.
it out. And most web developers leave it out just because it's a little bit of extra work to do it. They don't think about it, but in many cases, that little change will make a difference of 30% on your pricing.
Wow, great.
All right. And what is your process? Um, this one is kind of interesting because I always talk about a pest exterminator that I worked with in Ohio. They had been with their bank for years. They had grown. They were doing $70,000 a month in credit cards, so they're a pretty big company. They had 14 trucks on the road, and they were getting very, very aggressive rates. There's no way I could beat their rates. And as we looked closer, I said, if I could save you $1,700 a month, would you be willing to switch? And of course, her first question was, how can you do it? And being the salesperson that I am, my first response was, I'll tell you as soon as you sign the paperwork. But the answer to that question was the way that they had dealt with their bank, there was no customer service, there was no monitoring of her account. And as they grew, the pest exterminator in the field would call into the authorization line for Visa. They would get a voice authorization, and then they would turn their paperwork in at the end of the night. The following day, the office person would take those transactions and put them into the credit card machine with that voice authorization, and then hit submit. And then it would take another 2 days for them to get paid. So it was a 4 day process from when they did the transaction till when they got paid. What I told them to do was like the heating cooling example I gave you earlier. I said, have that person in the field call directly into the office, and then you don't have to call for that voice authorization. They did over 1,000 transactions a month, and that voice authorization was costing them $1.75 every time they called Visa. So that one little change was a $1,750 a month savings. So I really, really would like customers to look at their process and make sure it's the most lean and straightforward process it is, or it could be.
Wow. One change, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah. And
1750.
that
Yeah.
kind of, fits into the shopping cart part of it too. There's lots of things that you can do with the shopping cart. I think with newer technology and software today, a lot of people automatically default to like a Square if they want to do mobile transactions, or PayPal is a nice easy way to get started for doing a shopping cart and doing it inexpensively. And and then what happens is people piecemeal things together. So you might have Square for retail transactions. You might have a shopping cart using a PayPal. You might have something else doing automated billing for something else, and you're paying your redundant fees to three different processors where all of that can be housed under one processor with one software for a lot less money. I just worked with a cleaning company literally today, and she has PayPal on her website to buy gift cards. And she's
Hmm.
trying to figure out how to bill her customers because right now she's manually putting in transactions, and it takes them an hour and a half just to do their billing every day. And I said, you can get one software that'll do your gift cards, it'll do your mobile, so you can actually, take the sales right on site and swipe it, and do the automated billing for you. And it's only $15 a month versus she was paying, I think her base rate was before she even did a sale, it was almost $27 a month. So it just is a lot of ways to really cut your costs and make your business more efficient.
And none of this really impacts your services to your existing client. You are not changing anything in terms of really how your customer looks at you or how you're perceived in the marketplace, right? So you're just changing, making these little changes in the, I guess, let's call it your back end of your
Hmm.
business operations, right? And
Yeah.
then that's actually increasing the excellence and that's increasing optimization, and then it's actually impacting your bottom line. So yeah, this is very important. So you need to
Yeah.
look into the processes, I guess, right?
Yep. And for her, we just showed her how to do that. We actually got a hold of her web developer. He said, "Oh, that would be really easy to change. I'll do it for free." So for her, the change was no upfront costs. Her customers wouldn't see literally a difference on her website or how they do anything. And it would save her, we figured, $159 a month. And again, she doesn't need to even switch processors. That was a consulting job I did. So I wasn't trying to get her business. It was, for a small consulting fee, she was able to save $150 a month.
That's awesome.
All right, so what do we have next? Oh, other type of equipment, which we kind of talked about. Um, we talked about Square and Intuit are two manual or mobile reader swipes that are really good, and they do have a place in the market. A lot of credit card processors really don't like them, but I think what's important to know is there's a place for them. For the micro merchant is what it's called, and if you are a merchant who does less than $3,000 in sales per month on average, that's actually a good fit for you because they do have a much higher percentage, but they don't have any monthly fees. And once you do the math and actually compare it apples to apples, the break even point is right around $2,500 to $3,000. So if you do more than $3,000 a month, you really want to use a traditional credit card processor. And the other part of that coin is security. Square offers very little security, and most of those mobile readers offer very little. Where a lot of the newer technology, we can actually set up users, because if you're using this on your employee's phone, they actually own your data because the app is on their phone. If they leave your company, they still have that app on their phone and they can still do credit card transactions with your app, which means they can
Mm,
go to let's say 7-Eleven, they can buy a gift card that's a MasterCard and do a refund to that gift card. And they're literally taking money out of your account and putting it on a non traceable gift card. So there's no way for you to figure out who's stealing your money. And we
wow.
have security that we can put in place that Square and Intuit and most of those mobile readers can't to keep that from happening.
So you can actually help even if people are using Square, I guess, right? Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying? Okay,
exactly. And again,
that's
that's
that's pretty
something where I do it basically as a consulting. So I don't convince people they have to switch processors. I just show them universal software they can use with any processor. And it's a nice, very easy way to do it and to protect their own data.
absolutely cool.
All right, so that's most of the tips. I did go kind of over it really like Cliff Notes Theater version. And I just wanted to say, if you guys want to save 30% without switching processors, I have a special gift for all of Janix customers today. Go to howimproveprofits.biz and you can download a free ebook. And on the ebook, it'll go into a lot more detail of exactly what you can do to save 30% on your credit card processing without switching processors. And I do have another offer too that I was kind of explaining, and that's the do it for you service. That's the consulting that I do, where I, instead of you trying to figure it all out on your own, I charge $300 for the consulting and I do it for you. I show you exactly what you need to do to save the 30% without switching processors. And I do have a risk free guarantee. And how that works is if I can't show you how to save at least $500, you don't even have to pay for the session. And to give you just an idea, the customer I worked with today was that cleaning person. We saved her $159 a month. So in 2 months, she paid for my session and she's profiting another, what is that, $3,000 a year. So for her, it was
Hmm.
definitely worthwhile. And I always say, don't take my word for it. Um, I've done this for 12 years, like Janik said, and I've got some testimonials. I worked with Mike McGowan over at Amnesty, and we changed the way he did his process. He was getting good rates, but we lowered his fees by almost 30% just by changing the way he did things and sped up his cash flow by a few days, plus saved him several hours a day. Also, Kristen Yandor at Forgotten Harvest, which is a nonprofit you guys might have heard of in Detroit, they were really surprised at how much they saved. And with the savings, we're able to provide 3,600 more meals for the hungry every single month. So we can, really make a difference for your company as well. And then the
Wow,
real,
Jared, that's yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
okay,
No, that's actually a great offer. But go ahead.
yep.
Finish what you were saying.
Okay, yeah, the real special deal is for the first 5 people that sign up for the Do It For Me service, I'll give you 50% off. So it's only $150 if you email me right now. That's Jared at jaredsparr.com. It's right on the screen. For the first 5 people that sign up, I will do it for, instead of $300, for $150. And that's just for today only and for Janix customers and only for the first 5 people that sign up.
Wow, Jared, that's actually a great offer. $150 for your time, and this is what you're gonna do. And correct me if I'm wrong. They need to bring in their last month's merchant account statements, right? And
Correct.
then you are going to dig in. You're gonna help them figure out the hidden money, right? So you're actually going to find money for them in their in
Exactly.
their in their merchant account statement. So, folks, there are two things you need to do right now. The one is everyone should do this, regardless. Everyone should do this. Just go to howtoimproveprofits.biz. Howtoimproveprofits.biz. It's HOWTOIMPROVEPROFITS. How to improve profits, just how it sounds. .biz, where you can actually read his entire ebook into step-by-step details, what he has shared. And if you don't have time, and or if you just want to get the best help, best expert help with the person who has been doing this for over 12 years, and if you want to have Jared's expert eyes and expert opinion and expert help, you should definitely email him right now and get 50% discount for his consulting. And you are not going to lose anything, because if he doesn't show you, at least he doesn't help you save at least $500. I mean, you're not paying him. So, I mean, that's really good. So, I think you should definitely take him up on his offer. And worst case scenario, you are still going to come out ahead, more than he would, right? So, this is definitely a win-win for both Jared and all of you who are listening. So, definitely email him Jared at jaredsparr.com, which is right on the screen, and take benefit of a 50% offer. Definitely, I would really encourage everyone to do that. So before you I guess close, Jared, I have a couple of questions for you, I guess.
Yeah.
So um, I know there are a lot of changes happening in the industry right now. As a I guess as a business owner, what is something which is coming up on the horizon according to you, which they should which everyone should keep an eye on it. What is going to come up, let's say next 6 months, 12 years down the road, or what you are seeing already right now, which can definitely affect, uh, your business from the merchant processing standpoint, or the laws or the changes standpoint. Can you
Well,
can you
there's
comment on that?
two things that pop in my head. The one that's not as big of an effect, I think, but is pretty noteworthy is that PayPal has somewhat merged with Discover. And supposedly this fall, there's supposed to be PayPal credit cards, physical credit cards where people can use their PayPal account. They can go
Hmm.
into retail stores, swipe it on a regular credit card machine, and use their PayPal to pay for it. So we'll see if that actually comes through. The second one is that there was I don't know if
Not the PayPal debit card, the credit card, because PayPal
exactly.
debit card is, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
change. Okay.
Yeah, and again, I don't think that'll be a huge change as far as how people do business, but for consumers, it'll be a big deal. Um,
Absolutely. Okay.
for merchants, there's Visa just lost a lawsuit in January. It was, I think, $16 billion was the settlement. And the lawsuit had to do with the gas stations and how they had two different prices for cash and credit. So now any merchant can charge two different prices for their services if they offer cash and credit. The
Oh
difference,
my goodness, really?
yeah. So the difference is to be a maximum of 4%. So it can't be any more than 4%. And what I'm expecting to see is any online type of business, anything that does online billing, to charge a convenience fee. And usually, like say for example, if it's a $30 charge, they'll have a 2.99 convenience fee, which is about 3%, and that will cover
Mm.
their credit card processing fees. So I think in the future, like in the next year or so, it'll be the new norm will be for people to actually pay the credit card processing as a consumer, and the business won't have any credit card processing fees at all. So I think that's going to be the biggest change that's coming up.
I guess more profit for all of us. I guess 3% more profit at least, right?
Yeah, we've got the
Even though, even,
software in place so we can show you exactly how to do it. Again, with any processor, it works with any credit card processor. It doesn't have to use our system, and it ties into like because of we work with a lot of personality testing, and we found out that if we use check by phone services as another alternative that's free, that way you're
hmm.
not alienating customers, so you won't lose any business, and you'll still be able to basically eliminate your credit card processing fees.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that in your consulting, you're also going to share share a secret you shared with me, which is I guess which I'm not going to spill any beans here, but you mentioned to me how you are saving a vet's, processing, completely eliminating their processing fees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to share that, but there is something. Could you elaborate without sharing the entire detail on that? Like, what are the impacts on I guess on those kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a software that we developed. Right now, to my knowledge, we're the only ones that have it. There's one company in Texas that's getting close to what we have. And how the software works, and it works for anybody who does repeat sales, like a veterinarian has wellness program or a heating cooling
Like a
company.
recurring sales, right?
Exactly.
Monthly
Like
monthly
cleaning
billing kind of a thing.
companies do it, or dance studios, or gyms. Anyone who has the reoccurring non face to face sales can use this software. And by using it, you're literally automating your credit card processing. You're creating a portal for the customer so that your customer has control and access. And you're eliminating credit card processing fees is a big part of it. We showed a vet how to use this, and they've played with it a little bit, and the savings for them was $36,000 a year. So
Wow.
it makes a huge impact on a business.
And again, from the consumer standpoint, they don't see any big difference in terms of the process, right? So they will stick with the client, right? They will stick with the with
Oh
the
yeah.
with the business, right?
What we found is actually it creates a stronger relationship with the client because it's an automated process, so it's like an auto repeating contract for one, but the two is a safety portion of it. If you're a customer, you don't want to give some random 15-year-old salesperson over the phone your credit card information a lot of times. Whereas with this system, what that 15-year-old does is she sends you a link to a secure website and you go in and put your information in yourself. So she never sees it. It's never stored on paper anywhere in someone's office. So there's no way that someone can steal your data. It's all PCI compliant and stored the way it needs to be stored and secure.
Absolutely. And one last question for you, Jared. I guess, and this is again in regards to the trends. I recently come across, I guess, a new type of credit card called Coin, where all of your cards would be in one credit card.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, have you heard of them? Like, you can actually put all of your credit card into just one, so you just carry one credit card, right? Have you heard of that service, which is
I
going to be
haven't heard of
launching?
them specifically. There's a lot of systems like that out there.
Okay.
In Europe, it's really big to have the chip technology, and it's actually embedded in their cell phones. So
Mm-hmm.
they use their cell phone to actually do the credit card transaction. And it just hasn't taken on real big here in the States. But the only concern I have with that is if you do that, you're putting all of your eggs in one basket, like when you go on
Right.
vacation, kind of thing. And I actually have a note inside of my phone under my notepad for all of my credit cards with the 1-800 number. So in the event my wallet gets stolen, I can really quickly look and find out, who I need to call to cancel those credit cards right away. So that way it kind of, keeps you secure on the consumer side.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have a big concern on that particular technology. I'm not going to be one of the first adopter for that particular one. I'm going to have other people use it first, and they have to have some kinks in the system, right? So once that's clear, once it becomes more safer, then I will jump. But otherwise, I had the same concern as you do because
Yeah.
it's all your eggs in one basket, and if you lose, I mean, you lose all of them, right? One
Yeah.
card.
And
But supposedly, you can turn it off with your phone, and there are some security features. It's connected to your Bluetooth, so it has a Bluetooth chip, and it's connected to your Bluetooth enabled phone. So if you are away from your phone, then all the information is wiped or something like that. It's
hmm,
I don't understand the technology much, but again, I was just curious, how would that affect, as it relates to privacy and security, and is any of the conversation is happening on your side because you are more on the merchant processing side, are they bracing for that, or they're just thinking that this is just an experiment, or those kind of stuff?
yeah, I think at this point it's experiment. I think the biggest one was the Target crash last right before Christmas
I
last
know,
year.
right? Yeah.
And they're already have changed rules that October 2015 they're going to implement, and it's going to make a major difference in on the merchant side. If you're a merchant and you lose data like Target did, you are now responsible for that loss, which means if some criminal gets a hold of that data and then decides to charge $10,000 in false charges on that credit card,
Oh, you are
you as the
done.
merchant are the one who is responsible to pay back that $10,000 for every card that's lost. So that's you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of liability now. So that's a huge thing that's going to be coming out in October of 2015, and we're actually preparing our customers for it now because there's some steps that they can put in place that protect them.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I did not have no clue about that. In fact, my existing merchant provider did not tell me that. So, and I guess that's the difference. Knowing you and working with you, I guess, Jared, right?
Yeah, we've got a pretty good relationship with our customers. Our retention rate's pretty high for that reason. We're not the cheapest, and if someone wants the cheapest, we can actually refer them to someone who is the cheapest.
hmm
But it's just one of those situations where we have some clients that security, and that's a really big deal to them. And we show them how they need to operate their business to make sure that their profits stay in their pockets.
Absolutely. Well, Jared, has been wonderful talking to you about this maze of merchant processing and credit card processing world. And I have to say we have never done this kind of training call before. So I'm very fortunate to actually be your friend and to know you personally, and to bring you on board to teach all of us about things. Uh, Not only but you're expert at. So, folks, in the end, I would like you to definitely visit how to improve profits.biz. Definitely download his ebook, and then I would also urge to take advantage of his 50% off consulting service. That's like huge. That's only $150. So email him right now if you have not done that. Jared, Jared, Jared at jaredsparr.com, and go sit down with him and start finding money in your own merchant processing bills, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So till then, make sure that you do that with him. And Jared, any parting comment before we end the call?
No, I think we covered it.
Great. And once again, thank you very much for being on the call, folks, and have a great evening. And we'll see you on the next webinar.
Thanks, guys.